Look away, Rex Ryan. Look away.
And it went off his heel.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. We all got de-virginized Monday night Perna.
D-Virgin on the stop.
That's right, D-Virgin, who unlike his name would suggest, has been passed around the NFL like a fleshlight in prison. Finally found a home. Finally had his cherry popped in the form of having his name announced due to the thinning of NFL rosters that were ravaged by COVID this week. A week in which we had 2 Monday night games, two Tuesday night games, and some news. I'm going to cover it all today. The crazy Dallas Goedert foot pick. And I think Jalen Hurts, I think he's killed Minshew Mania. Best and worst of Week 16, Part 2. Part 2. That's good. Sports. Okay, I know nobody gives a shit, but I would love it if you subscribe to this YouTube channel. I mean, I do a lot of football videos, so if that's your thing, please do it. I do have Big Dick Patreon shout-outs for B. Edwin Sounds, Rocky, Lance Graven, upping to 88 per year, Nader Teja, and David Hornbostel. Patreon.com/thatsgoodsports. That's a great way to support this channel. I will have our Patreon-only Zoom meeting. I was gonna schedule it this week. Things got crazy. My apologies. Hopefully we can get it done after Christmas. Sneak it in for December. I look forward to seeing you guys in the Patreon Zoom for all $10 patrons. And BenchwarmerBrew.com, my coffee company. Check it out, because you're probably gonna need some coffee to help cure your hangover after New Year's. All right, let us begin with some art appreciation. I saw the Packers Reddit post this on Twitter. It's Aaron Rodgers as a foot with his infamous meme photo as his big toe holding a Lombardi trophy. There's a lot going on. As someone who went to art school, I can confirm this is art and will probably be the first NFT to sell for $1 billion, purchased by Rex Ryan and Quentin Tarantino. Now, I missed this observation for part 1 of Best and Worst, but I think there's a great point brought up here by Warren Sharp from Twitter. The NFL will flag Cassius Marsh for taunting when he did nothing other than look at the opponent's sideline, but when Tom Brady runs over and tells an opposing coach to go fuck himself, there's no flag. Now, to be clear, I don't think either of these things should be a flag. I want every quarterback to tell opposing coaches to fuck off. I think it makes the game better. I love that Brady did that, but it's another example illustrating how ludicrous and inconsistent the taunting emphasis is. While we're talking about the Buccaneers, they have signed running back Le'Veon Bell, reuniting Bell and Antonio Brown. Now I'm hoping the Bucs sign Big Ben to back up Tom Brady so the reunion is complete. Tampa needs Bell for depth after Lenny Fournette moved to IR. They also moved linebacker Levante David to IR, so Fournette and David are done for the rest of the regular season. And I think those are 2 huge losses for their offense and defense. Luckily, they have the easiest remaining schedule to conclude the season, so it might not matter. Okay, best and worst. Back to Monday night, we got Raiders versus Browns. Best, Kurt Warner taking some time away from his spaceship to act as color commentator for this game. He was also compared to a Chipotle burrito. Either meme is acceptable. And look, if I ever do this here on this show, please put me in my place in the comments and do not say you already look like an idiot, Perna. Worst, here's all of the missing Browns from this game. Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum, Jarvis Landry, Jadeveon Clowney, Kareem Hunt, Austin Hooper, Jedrick Wills, Malik McDowell, Troy Hill, AJ Green, and of course head coach Kevin Stefanski. Hell, even Odell Beckham Jr. had COVID this week and he used to be a Brown, so I think that counts. Worst, Nick Mullins, filling in for Baker and Case, may not have thrown an interception, but he averaged less than 5 yards per pass. Best, Bryan Edwards had 3 catches for 8 yards and a TD. I love weird stat lines like that. How many true receivers have 3 grabs and can't manage more than 10 yards in a game? I guess I have to credit the Raiders' run defense, though, for holding Nick Chubb to just 91 yards on 23 carries and a TD. But I think most anyone who watched this game is simply trying to forget it. Worst, kicker Daniel Carlson nails the game winner as time expires. I bet the Vikings are glad they got rid of this guy after 3 games. Carlson's 31 field goals made is the second most in the NFL this season. Vikings versus Bears. Best? The NFL mics caught a Bears fan yelling, and the general consensus after this game was that the world is angry that the Bears keep getting primetime games. It's not just that the Bears are inept on offense. This game was over-officiated to the max, and the Vikings' offense was rendered useless by a talented Bears defense. The Bears, or as I call them, the Broncos of the North, are frustrating to watch. Worst, there were 6 personal fouls in this game. It was hard to watch, though, like when your parents teach you about sex by making you watch them have sex. That's how you learned, right? Best, Eric Kendricks Lamar was ejected for this vicious hit on Justin Fields. I say best because if Fields can develop a skull that is impervious to concussions, this could be his best play. It certainly was on Monday. More seriously, I don't know if Fields will be any good in the NFL. The athleticism is there, so I will hold off judgment until he exists in the post-Nagy era. Worst, Matt Nagy was screaming at the officials all night. This is what you might call projecting. I mean, he was so angry he got flagged for yelling at the refs. And I'm only calling this a worst because he didn't assault an official. You might as well go out with a bang, Nagy. Worst, Kirk Cousins threw the greatest interception of all time. The Bears could have called a fair catch on this one. If there had been a pass rush on this play, Cousins should have been called for grounding. This truly might be the dumbest pick I've ever seen. And my quarterback was Paxton Lynch once. Worst, Kirk Cousins hits career lows in stats. 12 of 24 for 87 yards, but did manage 2 nice TD passes and 1 pick. The crazy thing is that 87 yards is tied for 5th fewest passing yards this season. Goff had 77 in November, Fields had 68 in September, Wentz just 57 this week, and of course Mac Jones 19 in that Bills-Patriots game. Passing league? My ass. Justin Jefferson now has 1,335 receiving yards on the season and passed Randy Moss for the most yards for a Vikings receiver through his first 2 seasons. Jefferson currently has 2,735 receiving yards in his first 2 years and is just 20 yards away from passing OBJ to have the most yards ever by a receiver in that time. Best, Bears get the most garbage time TD of all garbage time TDs. Worst, Justin Fields has 10 interceptions and 12 fumbles and 10 starts. Football team versus Eagles. Here's a quick worst about both of the Monday afternoon games. You could only watch one of them. The fact that there was no emergency red zone is a crime against football and humanity. Best, is this the least likely interception ever? This will go down on the stat sheet as an interception for Jalen Hurts. Poor Jalen Hurts, but again, damn it, this is Dallas Goedert's fault. Did the football team challenge that play? That's what I want to know. Whoever spotted that should actually win this year's MVP award. Worst, following up the most improbable pick is the football team forcing and recovering a fumble, and then fumbling and recovering a fumble again. Imagine a team that can't even decide on a name, struggling to be decisive on the field. Worse, Jalen Hurts was so good, we didn't get a chance to shower AAF legend Garrett Gilbert with praise. The best, Devontae Smith, have mercy. That's not just toe drag swag, that's fully making love to the sideline with your feet. Best, Jalen Hurts with a pair of touchdown runs. Again, that interception is really just taunting me in the box score, but Hurts was great, and I believe the Eagles became the first team in NFL history to rush for 200 yards on a Tuesday night. Best, Eagles now have 7 straight games with 175 rushing yards or more. Best since the 1985 Bears. Best, Jarrett Patterson scores his first career touchdown. This is the guy who had 409 yards in a single game at the University of Buffalo. Best, Jalen Hurts throws a touchdown, a dime to Greg Ward. One of Jalen Hurts' many perfect passes on the evening, but this one seals the win to get Philly back at 500. Hurts, 10 rushing TDs on the season, surpassed Mike Vick for most in Eagles franchise history. A little surprising, I thought that record would have went to Randall Cunningham. But Jalen Hurts, I think the Eagles found a gem. And right now, Hurts, Minshew, they have the combo to win the Super Bowl. You know the Eagles need a great backup quarterback, and they have that in Gardner Minshew. They also got a great starter in Hurts. And finally, Seattle versus Rams.
This is freaky. It's a freaky Tuesday.
That's right. It was a freaky Tuesday. Worst, Matthew Stafford started the game with this terrible pick to former teammate Quandre Diggs. Best, Von Miller gets his first sack as an LA Ram. A classic game of cat and mouse with Russell Wilson. This is what I call foreshadowing, as Von Miller and Russell Wilson will be teammates in Denver in 2022. Best, the Seahawks have a player named Bless, who I will now think about every time someone sneezes. Bless.
Divergent.
Oh, what a time to be alive. Worst, DJ Dallas not getting any calls. No calls to DJ and no calls in terms of pass interference calls on the field. I hate the underthrown ball as PI, but 9 out of 10 times we see this get flagged. Looks like the Rams are ready for the postseason though, now that the officials are ready to never flag them for pass interference. Ironically, the only flag the refs did throw was for DJ Dallas, rightfully showing his frustration in kicking a football. My question though, who wins in a ref off? The Rams or Tom Brady? Worst, Matthew Stafford goes over 50,000 passing yards. I'm only making this a worst because it's starting to make me feel really old. 50,000 passing yards, most of which were wasted in Detroit. It's like having $10 million, but having it while you serve a life sentence in prison. Best, big reason the Rams won this game, Cooper Kupp, who now has 10 straight games with 90 or more receiving yards. That's some kind of record. Doesn't really matter. He has all the records this season. He passed Isaac Bruce for most receptions in a Rams season. He could top Michael Thomas's single season record of 149 receptions. Best, Carlos Dunlap had 3 sacks on the night. If this was the only game I ever watched, I'd say Carlos Dunlap is the greatest defensive player ever. Best, DK Metcalf refuses to not be hydrated. This is a good time to remind everyone hydration is very cool. Not sure why DK was so thirsty though. He only had 52 receiving yards. Russ only cooked up 156 passing yards and was sacked 3 times, which was the first time Vaughn, Leonard Floyd, and Aaron Donald all had a sack in a game together. Worst, this game was exactly what a Tuesday game should be. Extremely boring. Best, Samsung Michael might be the key that makes the Rams go. He averaged 5.1 yards per carry, had 91 rushing yards, was 79 last week and 121 the week before. LA won all 3 of those games. In conclusion, I'm more confused about the NFL than ever, but I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Satan, the Devil's Christmas, and whatever the fuck you're into, I hope it's a good one. Thanks for watching Best and Worst here on That's Good Sports. Enjoy watching more of my videos. I swear to God, click another video on my screen right now and watch it. It's the most important metric for YouTube. Click-through rate.